game on Coast, but Coast has to beat them by an extra game to get ahead of them in the standings afterwards. So there's actually a lot here. This game's basically worth 2.
And Dignitas hopefully can hold some momentum from their earlier game against TSM. It is important for you.
It's really important. And you come in here, right? Any team who plays 2 games in the day, you hope that the first, well, if they won, you hope that first game helped them out there and make that one happen. And of course, we're seeing the picks and bans come through. Yes, the Ezreal was dropped away from KiWiKiD, though his favorite champion of Graves has been slipped through. Meanwhile, no surprises here. The Ahri away from Shiphtur, the Riven away from ZionSpartan. Standard research.
Yeah, these are more targeted bans than we've actually seen in the past few weeks, because we've seen a lot of the Elise, Jace type bans that have been coming through, but these are specifically just shutting down Scarra, Imaqtpie, ZionSpartan, and Shiphtur. And then, of course, just Elise thrown in there because it's Elise.
Yeah, that tends to be a very popular ban right here. Nintendo has shown he plays it. Zion would do well as well. Now, Zion has said he wanted to bring out Teemo. He thinks it's actually good. A couple players have told me they think Teemo's good. Like, this is not like a Kobe Jungle Kassadin thing. They've legitimately told me they like Teemo.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll see it. It's first pick TF.
I think they were messing with you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think so.
It's real, damn it.
Almost like KiWiKiD is messing with everyone with Fizz, because I talked with him earlier, and like the one thing you remembered when he was coming into this game is like, I hope he plays Fizz, because I really like Fizz. I want to play against it, because him and ZionSpartan are the 2 people who like have played Fizz. They haven't done well with Fizz, but at least they played it, and you know, they're going with the standard stuff. This is serious here.
Well, to be fair, in Europe, NukeDuck's been crushing people with Fizz.
Well, it's not that Fizz isn't a good pick.
Yeah.
It's
They
just
just
not a
don't
good pick for them. Yeah.
All right, well, that's the #1 team in Europe, man. They're running it. I feel like these guys should bring it back. I love Fizz. He's a great champion. So the double initiator combo, though, Dignitas rocking the Zac and Jarvan. We've seen these guys picked up together. I feel like they're more brotherly than Nasus and Renekton at this point.
Yeah,
they're just always together. It's the new Bash Brothers.
Okay. It's the bouncing cataclysm.
Yeah, it's a bounce house.
Bounce house? All right. House of fun?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Good, yeah. Bouncing around. Bouncing. Okay, no.
I think we need to work on this beforehand, and then it'll be much better in game.
It's hard to beat double rain bros and things like that. Co's going to go with their next few picks, though. Ooh, and they're bringing out the Fiddlesticks. Nintendude, in a very important match for these guys, is going to bring back the jungle fiddle with the Ancient Golem.
Oh, yeah. It is, because they have Thresh. I was like, I hope
top
he's
lane
not playing
Fiddlesticks for ZionSpartan.
Yeah, his tank Fiddlesticks is actually really good. And I loved it when he brought it out, because it was such a creative way of just kind of reimagining the jungle Fiddlesticks and killing his reliance on Zhonya's by just being a tank, since Crowstorm does so much base damage.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to see that he's back on it right now, because I think it was extremely smart and successsul.
And he has a lot of cool tools as well for those sort of lane matchups. You can terrify the person under the turret and not pull Turret Dagger because it doesn't do any damage. The Dark Wind, right, crushing minion waves down. Fiddle does a lot of cool things in the current sort of like 2v1 lane setups for junglers as well.
And this is a strange thing that Dignitas does, is they've locked in one pick without locking in the other. So they're just like, they're giving Coast a little bit of extra time. They got to lock them both in at the same time. KiWiKiD
look, yeah, you're right. You know, like, it's like, we know we're going to run Sona, but we're not sure in the AD carry. Just kidding, it's Graves, because it's KiWiKiD.
Of course it's Graves.
Of course it's Graves. So
gotta get it quick.
Yeah, all right, so the Graves Sona lane back here. They've run that a few times. Patoy has had some great crescendo initiations. Even just today, he's done a good job of that one, so I like seeing him back in the champion. Coast, though, got to make their own decisions. MashMe is going to go on the Vayne, and ZionSpartan pulling out the Aatrox. I like that one.
I really like how that was almost like a sneak attack by ZionSpartan, because KiWiKiD played multiple Aatrox games last week. He drew a ban against TSM for his Aatrox, and then it almost seemed like they were... Now, they wouldn't have necessarily played it late in here because they already had the Zac and the Jarvan, but I don't think that was anywhere near Dignitas' radar as far as fighting against. Aatrox is particularly weak against attack speed slows, since not only is his damage tied to his attack speed, also his sustain. And thus far, Dignitas doesn't have anything built into their team comp that can slow his attack speed, even in the slightest. It's actually fairly low in actual lockdown CC, so that Aatrox pick can be quite strong at the moment.
So now we got to consider what Dignitas does add to this lineup, because they just have that one champion to go. I mean, you kind of consider it super old school. Kayle was an option. But Dignitas right now have this hard engage team. They dive in, they create a lot of plays, the crescendo, the knockups, the Zac, and they're going to add Gragas as his last point, more area of effect.
Not only is it more area of effect, it's an attack speed slow.
You're right.
If Scarra can get that Q down, it's a 40% attack speed slow onto the barrel roll, which will be easy to land on ZionSpartan in teamfights if he wants to, because he knows where Aatrox is going to be going to. It's very telegraphed jump. I love that pick at the very end by Dignitas. It makes not only their team better, but it counters Coast's.
It's a really, really smart setup. So the lineups are on your screen right here. A cool mix of very sort of individualistic champions for Coast. You've got Zion, who's very much a good duelist. DontMashMe, the same situation. Thresh goes for these one-on-one picks as well, and Shiphtur is going to be all around the map trying to isolate more champions. And then you just got a party time from Nintendude in the background.
Party time, surprise, and inside the Thresh box as well could be very effective for them.
Yeah.
Once again, whenever they pick Twisted Fate, they're trying to opt in to the global pressure strategy, and it's all about Dignitas shutting down Shiphtur specifically. I think that's what Scarra's job is going to be this game.
We'll see if they can do it, of course. And by the way, I thought of a new ability combo here. If you put Twisted Fate inside of the Thresh, he pulls the card, it's Jack in a box.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
It's not too bad.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. All right, and of course, yes, it is. I'm so glad, by the way, because we saw ones that weren't. It is Surprise Party Fiddlesticks. Because when it was, I want to say it was Patoy, he did Bilge Rat, or yeah, he did the Pirate Fiddlesticks.
Okay.
And I was really sad that he didn't pick Surprise Party.
Yeah.
But it's like I mean, you have all the skins on Tournament Realm. You couldn't just pick Surprise Party Fiddlesticks, really, guys? So I'm glad they've made that correction here. Of course, this battle is important. It is a battle for 5th place here. Coast, if they win, ties up Dignitas. If Dig wins, they go 11-12. They tie up TSM and CLG in a big 3-way tie for 3rd, and Coast drops down to 9-14, which puts them very near Curse towards the bottom, where they're going to battle for that 6th and final spot. So, match means a lot for these guys. Coast in blue in the bottom left, and making their way up to the river. And Dignitas, of course, top right in red, kind of spreading out a lot more.
Very defensive opening here, and they're trying to avoid the Thresh attack, or even just a Fiddlestick Sphere at level 1. If NintendudeX actually skilled up Fear, it would be an all-in investment, which is why, obviously, he hasn't picked that skill on Fiddlesticks yet. But this is a somewhat dangerous amount of moves for Dig, because they don't have many wards up, and they actually have no idea. Unless Coast blind hooks into that bush where Jarvan is right now, I don't think much is going to come of this Curse Invade.
And of course, Crumbzz will have the flag toss to throw down if he needs to. Spots Team Coast, starts running away, and they won't necessarily see Crumbzz as he leaves. There's the flag. All right, now they know that Dig knows about them, but they just dive right in, power in numbers, and get a couple of wards down in control of the brush. Of course, Dignitas uses that as free time to get wards down themselves.
Just good scouting by Crumbzz. He was moving enough in the brush that he wasn't in real risk, and since he saw all 5 with the flag, it gave Patoy and Imaqtpie a window to go in and ward up Coast jungle.
And the flag coming down again, they do see Coast running around. Another ward comes out from them, though, so good aggressive wards. 1 near blue, 1 near red. Coast will see a lot of the moves made by Team Dignitas, and of course, Coast's red buff fully controlled here. And looks like the junglers, though, will open up safely. They're both going to go for their own blues and just start things out safe.
And I guess the question remaining for where the junglers go now is, do they do an invade now, or do they go for their own jungle? I feel like it all depends on where the teams put their AD carry and their support in the ability to defend their buff for them. And since Imaqtpie and Patoy are up top, and DontMashMe and Daydreamin are down bottom, we're going to see standard jungle roles.
Seems to be the case right here. You look at that, and Fiddle actually sharing his blue with Zion. He's still level 1, actually, so good guy Nintendude, sharing XP, and he's going to make his way. I guess, he only really needs Drain to kill things off. Going to walk his way towards the red buff.
I really like that on jungle Fiddlesticks, and it's something you couldn't get away with on other junglers. Since Fiddlesticks is so tied to his drain damage for his jungle, he can still clear this really easily at level 1, and he's benefiting ZionSpartan, who's already in a bad situation, specifically because Team Coast generally wins only when ZionSpartan does well. Giving him that early experience not only ties in well to their strategy, it works because of Fiddlesticks.
And Nintendude now only hitting level 2, whereas Crumbzz is 3. Crumbzz makes a detour for the double golems before possibly showing up for a gank, or maybe just not going for anything right here. I want to know what these guys end up doing. Nintendude is just similarly... Actually, no, he's making his way to the top lane. He's defending Zion early on.
Yeah, he's potentially just going to turn this into a bit of a 2v2 lane. Because he's Fiddlesticks as well, he's going to ward, or at least attempt to ward, for ZionSpartan. Unfortunately, that pink ward will go and get cleaned out by Patoy almost immediately. But this is just his supportive style of lane fiddlesticks jungling, I suppose.
Yeah, so 75 gold, unfortunately, for Nintendude was wasted, though. Again, with Drain, he didn't have to buy as many potions. He got to open up with Hunter's Machete Ward Potion. I don't know, I kind of like that he's been able to do that. Patoy with another ward down there puts it by that little tri-brush in top lane, so he'll be able to see more of Nintendude's moves if he ever leaves or tries to wait around on the side. Shiphtur level 3, staying in his lane against Scarra. These guys actually trading pretty equally here. Boots and potions versus Door and Ring potions, and equal farm. The other one to watch for is this bottom lane here. Pink ward down from Daydreamin. It's a 2v2 as Crumbzz defends KiWiKiD.
And the level advantage right now for Crumbzz is making this engage a very good option for them.
And Daydreamin unfortunately whiffs the flay. The knockup comes by and forces the flash out of Coast's support. And he's got to be careful now because there's so much room for him to get jumped on at only half HP and no escapes up.
And Dignitas lately has really loved Doran Shield. I know when Scarra plays Castan, he starts with Doran Shield. Now you can see the Doran Shield buds in the bottom lane with Jarvan and Zach just trying to make something happen. Daydream's got to be really careful now that his flash is down, getting jumped on again by Crumbzz.
Does get the knockup. Flay comes out, knocks back Crumbzz a little bit, but no hook lands here. So Crumbzz takes some damage, but otherwise gets away safely. KiWiKiD no follow-up. However, Kiwi's fully safe in this matchup, whereas Zion is getting a little bit sieged under his turret. Nintendo shows back up with a Spirit Stone, and let's see how much damage KiWiKiD can deal. Not actually too much being dealt to the turret yet.
And we're going to see very extended 2v2 laning phases here because the junglers are exclusively supporting their solo laner or their side laner and just not letting much damage get dealt to those turrets.
And look at this move made right here by Dignitas. They did this last time against TSM, actually. Here comes Zach and Jarvan. Shiphtur's not.
He does have flash up, so he might be able to escape, and he does clear the creep, so that was really well played by Shiphtur.
And he even read that coming. There was the communication from his bottom lane saying, hey guys, Zach, Jarvan are missing. They did this last time, and he walked back, had to burn nothing for it. Well played by Coast.
And think of all the time wasted from Dignitas as well in pulling off that maneuver. It's going to allow DontMashMe a little bit of breathing room and give them a bit more confidence the next time Crumbzz and KiWiKiD think about engaging on Vayne, which might not be a good idea anymore since that level advantage that they had previously is now gone.
Exactly, but you can still see, though, that this whole sort of setup has still helped Dignitas anyway. They're, as a team, up 300 gold. The 80 carries have a 10 minion kill spread between the mid laners across by 8. There's just these little things that are, despite some of that time wasting, really are helping Dignitas here. So you talked about that with Counter Logic Gaming, where they'll play along landing phases, they're winning it. Dignitas are winning the landing phase.
And they have been able to do similar things in the past. I'd also say in this game, Dignitas has superior lane pushers, at least early game. So most of these turrets have been kind of like we see now in the top lane for Coast, just at the Coast turrets. And at least early game, the odd CS does get missed at the turret, even though there's not much pressure on these guys because it's been a very low action early game. But I think that's what's contributed to the minuscule gold lead that is actually overpowering the Twisted Fate passive at the moment.
Impressive stuff by the Dignitas squad, also taking the double golems after they push that turret down, so more advantage is given to KiWiKiD. He is level 5 and then some. Shiphtur, though, finally hitting level 6, but interestingly enough, if he does ulti inside of Scarra, there's always the explosive cask to knock him out, and Scarra just keeps on pushing.
And we can't underestimate Scarra's ability to roam around the map on Gragas either. He's going to have pretty good control over Shiphtur, I think, throughout most of this game.
And see if he can do it then. Keep him down. Nice lantern comes out from Daydreamin and sheds light onto the brush and says, Crumbzz, you've been trying this for a while now. I'm getting a little wise to your antics. The flash 3/4 of the way back up for Daydreamin, so he nearly recovers from losing that summoner spell.
And as this game moves forward, I want to see how Dignitas and Coast both try to create fights, because Dignitas has a whole bunch of just area of effect damage as they usually bring in their team comps because they love Graves so much. A lot of these team comps actually end up getting built around their 80 carry just to support whatever abilities he brings, since Imaqtpie isn't bringing crowd control. Oh no, they missed the Gragas ult.
Gragas ult burn. There's the flash coming out from Shiphtur, but it's 2 lower cooldown ultimates for the flash from Shiphtur. That said, his ulti's available. We'll see if Shiphtur makes any moves. Nice try by Dignitas, I guess.
It was a good effort because they would have been able to take something after that, and they were trying to control Shiphtur, but now they're at kind of a weakness to whatever Shiphtur wants to do next, and Scarra has lost his ability to interrupt the TF ultimate.
Interestingly enough, Dignitas had just recalled their duo lane, but they're still sending them towards the top-hand side. I was wondering if they would look at something like Dragon with Zion still top.
And to get back to the Dignitas overall team comp, they're going to want to combo those area of effect ultimates together. Not specifically on Shiphtur. I was more thinking that they should be trying to go bottom lane and shut down DontMashMe a little bit, because they need to be able to keep Vayne down for most of this game, since they have a very strong tank line. And since Jarvan is not good at locking out DontMashMe, since he can just tumble out of his Cataclysm, if they don't get control of DontMashMe early, it's going to become a problem late.
So good luck then, Dignitas. You've got to keep DontMashMe down. MashMe, you've got to stay true to your name and not get mashed. DontMashMe. Yeah. And then I said the wrong word after. I just said don't and just like stop talking. Scarra, though, still trying to do the clearing. He's still trying to lock up Shiphtur from doing anything. And honestly, Shiphtur hasn't kind of shifted out of his lane right there. But look at this combo right here. The wall jumping buddies have come and Coast. Honestly, there's no wars. The Coast is clear. They can take Dragon all they want and get a nice little gold lead. They've given up. Yeah, that's really good.
That's a good move by Coast there, being able to pick up this uncontested Dragon. They didn't even have pink ward control, but honestly, they wouldn't have even entirely needed it, just because Dignitas rotated their AD carrying support to the top lane right as that was happening.
Yeah.
And Coast snuck it for one, but they also had Dignitas entirely outmanned.
And look at this. Dignitas were freezing the top lane for a while, whereas Coast put everyone down to the bottom side. They've got a huge numbers advantage here.
And they're punishing the lane freeze right now by just mercilessly pushing down this bottom lane. Now, the only thing they have to worry about is Shiphtur not getting killed by a gank, and he's playing safe in the mid lane.
Well, the ultis are back available for Dignitas. They even pink warded some of the side brushes to blind some of the vision, but they don't get it. They're still pushing.
Yeah, Dignitas has to react a little bit better to this four-man push. Crumbzz just went back, and Scar is trying to peel in, but ZionSpartan actually pops his ultimate for the attack speed, and Coach is shredding down that turret.
So KiWiKiD is here to try to defend, but again, there is Terrify to be concerned with. Scar is not going to get knocked around. He's waiting in the wings. The Lantern comes across. One turret traded for two right here. Coast have taken two right-hand side turrets, but Dignitas, of course, also not slowing down. They could keep making moves.
Yeah, Coast completely outmaneuvered them right there. They picked the lane swap timing just right, and then called Dignitas on their lane freeze, and that's why they got two turrets instead of one.
And the rest of Coast are lurking a little bit around the mid lane. I was wondering if he's going to Crowstorm over the wall and like Flash Fear Scarra, just because Nintendi was waiting one of those brushes. That's not the case, though. It's just simply going to be the lanes resetting. Coast have actually sent... They almost sent both Vayne and Aatrox top lane, but it's going to be ZionSpartan holding on to this pretty freezable lane, I suppose, up here.
Yeah, but we just saw the freezing getting punished right now,
yeah.
Especially since Dignitas has such good ability to clear waves. I was very surprised that they decided to randomly play the freeze game then.
Yeah.
They spent 8 or 9 minutes of permanently shoving into Coast, and then decided to freeze once and paid for it almost immediately. So I don't really expect ZionSpartan to freeze us for long, as we see him actually just clearing it immediately and trying to push, because that's the game we're playing right now.
Exactly. He's attacking as fast as possible, has filled up the blood well, so he's got that full 50% attack speed from that one. DontMashMe also taking double golems here, of course, by mid-game. I mean, unless you want them to spawn at 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're taking them.
You can take double golems as the AD carry later on with this one. But you're right. KiWiKiD and Patoy had been shoving and taking double golems forever there. It was weird that they chose that exact moment to freeze. Again, as you said, they paid for it. Scarra, with that pink ward, is controlling some of that lane, that brush vision here. Maybe we can see Crumbzz come in and get that gank on a Shiphtur.
Scar really wants to make something happen on Gragas. He's been successfully out farming Shiphtur by about now 15, 16, close to 20 the whole game. And if he can't make one of those ganks work with Crumbzz, he's really doing himself a disservice, because he's been trying to make something happen with Gragas here and he just hasn't found the window.
Unfortunately not, but there's an aggressive pink ward in the jungle. Dignitas will not get spotted as they make this move. They're going to have 4 people here at this bottom lane against Coast 3. And you look at KiWiKiD and Patoy, that ult from Shiphtur actually says, oh, I don't want to do anything there. You guys all roam bottom.
That was a TF ultimate away from being a 4v4, and Shiphtur, is not going to do that because they didn't have the positioning to create the fight. But at the same time, just using that Twisted Fate ultimate stifled Scarra's roam as well, and actually gave Shiphtur a little bit of an edge in minions when he got back to mid quicker than Scarra did.
And now let's look at the sort of top laners now that they finally had time to run around and do things and get farm. ZionSpartan level 8, KiWiKiD level 9. You're seeing KiWiKiD go for that standard tanky damage build, the Sunfire Cape early on, whereas Zion actually is looking for a fast Blade of the Ruin King, much more damage focused.
It's specifically what he wants to do on Aatrox, because attack speed, lifesteal, that's already what Aatrox does. He's just augmenting his already strong aspects. It's the right build to go with Aatrox. And again, Dignitas is back to the shoving game, which is what they should have been doing a little while ago.
They've done a very good job of it. Their turret does go down, making it 2-2 in turrets. So a secondary turret for an outer is the trade overall. Zion actually in a duel with Kiwi, knocking him up into the air, just going for it, misses the slow, knocked up by Kiwi, and there's the ulti, going for the damage. Can he lifesteal enough? Ignite comes off. It's going to be the blood well pop by ZionSpartan, and KiWiKiD has survived this one. So there's Zion now at about half HP. And what will he do with this one? Because KiWiKiD definitely won that first engage.
Yeah, but they both had revive passives, so I feel like they're just kind of playing around up there. ZionSpartan no longer has that revive for the next fight, but he has been able to heal up quite well. Because of that fight, Dignitas trying to take blue.
Nintendo taking a bunch of pain right there, does flash away, but the smite and the steal comes in. Scarra takes the blue buff. That's going to be Dignitas with a great grab. And Scarra actually never ulted as part of trying to kill off Nintendo. That was interesting.
I think they could have gotten the kill, but he wanted the ult for later in case they needed to make an escape. I also have to give a lot of credit there to Crumbzz and Scarra. Crumbzz smiting right before Scarra's barrel roll. They were definitely communicating with each other to make sure they stole the blue in the right way and got onto the mid laner where it really matters.
Definitely a very impressive move by these guys. So Dignitas now with some nice advantages. Of course, their blue is still up and waiting for whoever wants it. I mean, QtPie could take it and spam more buckshots, or Scarra could just get the refresh. But QtPie, you're seeing him learning his lesson, not freezing that bottom lane, shoving out pretty hard, and freeing up his sort of time elsewhere. That Bloodthirster, of course, giving him a lot of push potential.
I wonder if he's going to go for that static Shiv next, because he used to build that item all the time on Graves to just increase his wave clear even more so. But we've also seen a lot of Bloodthirster to Last Whisper just for that 80 caster-ish spike damage from QtPie. That's really going to dictate how Dignitas continues to play this game, whether he goes for the total wave clear or for the team fight 80 caster spells. It
is fun to see the sort of builds mature with these guys. They're actually over in Europe, the craze for a while on Varus, I think probably still, was Bloodthirster to Last Whisper to Infinity Edge. Just AD items, not even a Phantom Dancer for a long time, just for those gigantic Qs. Zion, though, back into a duel with KiWiKiD. Last time Kiwi did win, but the ult from Twisted Fate is coming. There's the ult from Zion as well. The flash under the turret. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Kiwi dropped dangerously low on health. Shiphtur has to drop turret aggro, and that's enough to split the blobs. But Zion, one turret shot away from death. Can't lifesteal enough. First blood goes over to KiWiKiD, but the wave clear from Shiphtur, the bounce is in. Nintendude picks up the kill. Nice.
Look at KiWiKiD laughing that one off, because the Crow Storm, since his Blobbins were so close together, just finished them. I still think KiWiKiD and Dignitas came out way ahead on that one, because they got the 1-for-1 and a dragon, plus a 4-man push down the bottom lane.
And this turret's almost definitely going to be theirs, just like last time. It's 2 turrets for 1, or in this case, a dragon and a turret for 1. Dignitas getting a nice big global lead. First blood versus a kill assisted, but actually DontMashMe, he's on the hunt for the mid lane right here. However, Dignitas are still knocking at this front door.
Yeah, they are really pushing it here a little bit far, because Crumbzz gets hooked in and Coast can defend on their base.
They catch it, they flay in the crescendo, the ults come across. Zion low on HP, does not have his ulti, but Mashme got the mid lane turret, and Crumbzz goes down. Now can Coast continue to engage? Will they find more?
DontMashMe is considering trying to come in behind Dignitas. Dignitas is trying to run, Patoy's out of mana, so that was his last speed up if Coast wants to continue to chase. But it's a tall task, and DontMashMe doesn't want to go in 1v3.
QtPie has every cooldown available. He could just destroy someone's health bar if he wanted to. So that won't happen just yet. ZionSpartan charging up his blood well as quickly as possible, using the blood price version to deal damage to himself. Mashme is sitting in this mid wave. So interestingly enough now, Coast actually took 2 turrets for a dragon and a turret, and went 2 kills for 1. So they've actually held up pretty well in this mid game.
Yeah, I'd actually say, even though it looked bad early for Coast, since Dignitas over-pushed their advantage in the bottom lane and decided to go for kills on top of Coast's inhibitor, that Coast would have came out on top of that one in the very end, as close as it was.
So good job then here. So Coast definitely holding on. It's interesting because they had a very impeccably played game against Counterlogic Gaming, where I felt like they played their pick comp really, really well.
Yeah.
And they had a really weird sloppy one against Velocity, where they kind of felt like they kept picking the wrong fights and diving into battles they didn't need to. And here's Coast, I feel like, making good moves again. You've got a lot of wave clear, and they're holding on nicely.
If only these teams could get more consistent.
Yes.
Now, because this, I feel like we talk about this with so many of the LCS teams here in North America. It's like, some of these teams just have these awesome games where they look like they're not making any mistakes whatsoever. Then they have the other ones who are just saying, what are you doing, guys? And you get so frustrated at some of their moves. But the good news is they have that potential and they have that ability to play so well.
Crowstorm, knock of fear. KiWiKiD did not expect this one. In comes Crumbzz for the counter gank, but here is Twisted Fate. This might be too much for them. Can they get the damage they need? The card's not doing enough to KiWiKiD, but MashMe finds him. He finds Crumbzz. 2 kills picked up for Vayne. Even pulls in a lantern for good measure. Why not?
He wanted to hit the button, but that was an awesome fight for Coast. Once again, they waited in the brush because they expected KiWiKiD to over-push, and he fell for it. Coast gets the bait and the double kill.
Such a nice move there. I'm thinking about this move. I feel like it was actually Coast who did it, where they're all sitting in that brush on the top right side, and St. Vicious tosses a flag in there, goes, that's spot late.
Yeah.
And just like, nope, not doing that one at all. Coast have done this move a couple of times. This one paid out, though.
It works a lot better against Zach.
Yeah, he doesn't check brush from 1,000 units away.
Yeah. That's a key factor in avoiding the brush camp.
I feel like it's important. So, all right, unfortunately, KiWiKiD, you are not Jarvan. Sad for you, but ZionSpartan has the Bloodwell back. He has it back, and he's looking to make some more moves. Interestingly, I correct myself. He stopped at Bilgewater Cutlass, then rushed Spirit Visage. So he's much tankier, has some lifesteal, but is a beefy Aatrox.
That's really interesting. He's against a double AP composition in a sense, since KiWiKiD is technically magic damage.
Yeah, he's going damage build.
And because he has such high natural lifesteal from his Bloodthirst, it's a very smart item for him to build, not to mention the fact that he is effectively resourceless aside from his health. It's just going to allow him to spam more and more. Smart move. I still think he'll go for the Blade of the Rune King. Yeah, sure. But getting that Spirit Visage now is a good call. Yeah, and just to make sure you guys are aware of this rule, the Spirit Visage not only affects lifesteal, or not only just life-gaining abilities, but lifesteal itself. So it does amplify what he gets from the Bilgewater Cutlass. ZionSpartan still farming out in the top lane, and this is the Coast that we see when they're most comfortable. Is Zion is on a fighter who split pushes, like akin to his Riven, akin to his Shen, off on his zone, getting as big as possible, and the rest of the team makes moves and pulls him in every once in a while. And there were two things that Dignitas has to worry about this game, obviously. It's the ZionSpartan, because that's what you just mentioned, and DontMashMe, because they don't have the best tools for dealing with Vayne outside of Scarra's Gragas, who needs to worry a bit about ZionSpartan's attack speed. So since DontMashMe's gotten going a little bit with those 2 kills, it's becoming a very difficult game for Dignitas to win come teamfight time. So good luck to these guys. Can you get the catches you need? And can MashMe kite away? Right now, Dignitas are making a trap right here in the opposing jungle. They've got ward coverage. They've got an Oracles. And they're just waiting for someone from Coast to get a little bit greedy. But there's nothing spotted right here. I actually don't know if that's a timing off of Lizard buff or if they're just looking for a rotation. I think they're just looking for a rotation mainly. There's been a lot of movement by DontMashMe and just all of Coast like in between the lanes. And Dignitas is just hoping to get that one thing. Specifically, if they got it here, they'd get the inhibitor. Ooh, good dodge by MashMe, but still gets caught up by Crumbzz. Can he click the lantern? He cannot. Crumbzz stands on top of it and blocks the attempt. Nice try on the tumble, but unfortunately still found. Great job, Dignitas. And they pretty much did catch someone in that rotation there. They really want to get this inhibitor turret because with Vayne out of the way, they're free to have a fight most likely. Fear comes across, more wave clear in from Shiphtur, but they've got to be careful. The Dignitas are coming in. KiWiKiD taking some damage. ZionSpartan has gained himself into this fight. Box comes across. There's the Crowstorm Crescendo onto 3. Dignitas losing a lot of health. Daydreamin incredibly low on health. Scarra picks up the kill for that trouble. That's a 2-0. However, MashMe is back alive. And I wonder how long Dignitas will continue this push. The turret is very low, and they have shown that they really want it. They're trying to wave through the fear off onto Scarra. Actually, Dignitas forced back right here. Shiphtur's ulti is available. Dignitas must retreat together, and they're doing that. So still a good set of moves overall by Dig because they knew where their priorities lied. They wanted to get someone caught in a rotation, and exposing the inhibitor was a priority. Also, they didn't want to have straight-up team fights, but did they overcommit because Coast is rushing towards this Baron? Let's see if they can. Crumbzz did save his smite for the dragon, and they're just straight recalling. 2 are already back in base. Patoy as well. Ooh. 3 of Dignitas are in mid. They're moving over, though. Scarra is making his way to the left-hand side, does have his ulti. Baron at 4,000 health. Gragas is the best Baron stealer in the game. The flag does give them vision. Coast has got to be scared about this one. Can Scarra time it right? Here comes the burst in. No! Red team takes Baron. Nasher. Crumbzz gets it. 1 kill picked up. They've blobleted the Zac. So Coast will take 2. But of course, Baron buff is here for Dignitas. 5v3 for 25 seconds. What can Coast do? That was so much damage that got put down on a Baron at the same time. Smite becomes a non-factor in that equation. Scarra spiked down his barrel roll, which is 600 damage, and his ultimate, which is another 700 damage, plus Crumbzz smited it with his combo as KiWiKiD went in. That is thousands of damage landing at the exact same time. So that's why NintendudeX's smite didn't even get used, and that's why the killing blow is from KiWiKiD, who actually does the smallest packets of damage. Super risky Baron play, and it does not work out.
So KiWiKiD, 5 seconds till revive. Coast trying to stay for this turret kill right here. Patoy doesn't have Crescendo, but it's enough to scare back Team Coast. They don't quite get the turret off of that, so it's Baron for 2 kills, which is definitely a good trade for Dignitas, and now they look to be the aggressors.
It was so funny when that Baron got taken. I thought actually Coast got it initially since the kill call was green, and I assumed Fiddlesticks had smited it, but it was actually Saku who picked it up. So Dignitas in a power position now after being able to react to Coast's big play. I think they're going to go back for that inhibitor turret since they got so much work done on it earlier.
And the red buff stolen away as well. Certainly Dignitas feeling good around the map, playing aggressively, getting waves shoved out. Now they are spending some of their time getting the minion waves in their favor. You can see that KiWiKid's running to the top end side of the map. Crumbzz taking the bottom lane right here. But you're right, Dignitas wearing Baron, wearing an 800 gold lead as well, should be the aggressors here. So, Scarra, wearing blue, wearing red as well. He stole that one, as we said.
And black. Black and yellow, the Dignitas colors.
Good. Wiz Khalifa would be... Fizz Khalifa?
Oh,
Wiz Khalifa. No, yeah. Wiz Khalifa would be happy. Black and yellow. It's a song. Don't worry about it. And yeah, so the bottom lane got pushed down, but interestingly, Dignitas not... they're not pushing that one just yet. They're getting the rest of the waves pushed around. Shiphtur grabs his own blue buff. By the way, I haven't seen this much. It's the Death Cap Rush Twisted Fate. It's a bit of a rare build. He's going Lich Bane now, so he's going to have as much sort of turret damage you can get on Twisted Fate with these 2 items, but remarkably unsafe, remarkably not durable.
He's been playing it as a bit of a lane-to-lane shover. He's trying to clear the waves as quickly as possible and really just using his wild cards to do so. So in this case, the Death Cap is the build for doing that. And it's not the utility type Twisted Fate that goes around and ganks lanes, which is indicative of how Coast has been playing this game, because even though they have the 6 kills, it's been Dignitas who's gotten kind of the important ones and the lane pushing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're seeing right here. And Coast, unfortunately for them, forced to play on the back foot with, with all the pressure that Dignitas has put in. Their builds doing what they can to kill off minions, but Cutie-Pie, right, playing around the graves, getting a team that pushes in. They found that. The pull there onto Crumbzz. Wildcards do not land. KiWiKiD jumps in the knockup on an intended. He just gets exploded at the start of the fight. He does fall over. Good barrel by Scarra, and there's another turret for Dignitas.
And especially with ZionSpartan not even there, we've talked about those outer turrets when a team has Baron being so difficult to defend. It leaves them open for yet another dive.
And the dive just comes in right here. 5v4, Flay coming across the pull onto KiWiKiD. Will Coast continue on? Fox comes across. A lot of damage there from Vayne. Flashing the crescendo. Now where's the re-engage? A lot of slow, a lot of stun. Patoy falls over. The knockup doesn't quite land, but here is the TF ult. Crumbzz taken low. One more attack to go. Can they find the damage? Ooh. No slow lands from ZionSpartan. Daydreamin is going to flash in. Can he get it? No, the flash away from Dignitas. A full escape. Just the 1-for-1, but they got so much of Coast's base killed.
Everyone on Dignitas is highly mobile, and they bailed out after that one, and then went back in to find a Thresh right there.
Yeah.
So support's having a bad time in that fight. Everyone else feeling okay. That was still a good move overall for Dignitas because their accumulated map pressure is now at a very high point, and the transit kills that they've been able to pick up are going to increase.
That is huge. So, yeah, the map pressure, the getting control, the wards definitely in Dignitas' favor right here. And their catch potential is very, very high. They all hit from so far away. Good luck, Coast, getting around with transit. Crumbzz is going to... He is actually getting a lot of the side lane farm. You're noticing him down on the bottom lane a good amount of this game. For as much as he's been ganking, he has been donating some of the farm here.
And I have to say that Scarra is doing a fantastic job controlling these team fights with his Gragas ultimates. It was the last pick, so we knew exactly what he was going to be going up against. And since ZionSpartan is not necessarily a full tank, he's more of a fighter, since Scarra is completely isolating either ZionSpartan or NintendudeX from the rest of the team, he's letting Dignitas focus very succinctly on the right targets. And it works better against this Coast team specifically because they don't have the true tanks.
It's true, and you saw them actually get to engage on Nintendude. It's one of the big weaknesses of that Fiddlesticks. You have to channel Crowstorm. You don't get a channel when you're knocking the enemy team, thrown into the air, surrounded by Cataclysms, and just destroyed. So again, props to Scarra getting the right people here. And as we saw as well, ZionSpartan wasn't part of the fight initially, did rejoin, did go Blade of the Ruin Kings. You called that one right. And is just trying to be tanky enough to survive fights and do enough damage to be a threat in them as well. Dragon coming back up, and Dignitas in control means they get to decide who fights where.
And the Baron buff is gone for Dignitas, so I don't expect them to do anything too crazy unless they get a very good opportunity to Grog Assault someone back. I think for the most part here, they're just posturing, or I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right on in, exploding Shiphtur at the start of this one. KiWiKiD happy to start the battle, and now 5 versus 4. This is gonna be Dignitas' inhibitor. 40 seconds on Shiphtur's death timer. GG, good pickup, just starting the fight out of nowhere.
That just shows how confident Dignitas is in their ability right now and how scared Coast is in their positioning. They're trying to cover too many areas right now, even though Dignitas is staying grouped up. Coast just wasn't together there, and considering Dignitas dove in so fast to that inhibitor, that would have been a great time for a Coast counterattack, but they just weren't ready for it.
They certainly weren't. You saw how well they came in. The Daydreamin knocked against the wall, not knocked over. The Fear coming back across though, hitting Scarra. KiWiKiD going back in. Great play, stops that one in its tracks. Scarra's still on the other side of the wall though. Nintendo just kind of draining some life right here. And yeah, Scarra gets out of that one successfully. Ward's gonna go down, but you can see Dignitas able to sort of play in Coast's base and get away successfully with some turret damage.
And they're really growing their lead a lot here. It's 10 seconds until the next Baron, and Coast is still very scared of engaging. What Dignitas needs is for their cooldowns to come back in order to catch Coast trying to contest this Baron.
Well, Baron is up, so let's see what these guys do with it. The wards are there, and they're hiding in the brush. Dignitas, good ult from Shiphtur reveals, but it's Nintendo getting caught up again. Can he survive this one? Puts the Fear down, does die, and MashMe gets hit with the crescendo. KiWiKiD drop low in health. MashMe actually goes into the fight and gets exploded right there. Bloodwell comes across. KiWiKiD popped into blob with Zion running away. The knockup almost there. Imaqtpie finds the kill. Double kill for Graves. 3-0 in that fight. Dignitas well in control.
And that was a fight where Scarra didn't even get off his ultimate, KiWiKiD didn't even bounce, and Coast was just caught completely unawares. The lines of these team fights have been drawn, and Dignitas has huge advantages on them. I feel like Coast needs to make something very crazy happen to come back in this one.
Unfortunately, they haven't found that just yet. It's the Baron going down. No one from Coast nearby to steal it away. This will make it Dignitas' second Baron here, right after it respawns and right after winning a little team fight. Nice purple buff, worn on all 5 members. Patoy got to recall back and buy items. Included among that was an Oracle's Elixir. So with an inhibitor dead and a Baron buff, Dignitas looking really good.
And this could end up being a very productive day for Dignitas. They beat TSM in that very close game. This has been a solid one. We actually have a replay of that last Baron fight, where once again, they got the initiate onto Nintendude, which completely stifles Coast strategy. Then even though Patoy's crescendo wasn't immediately followed up on, it was still enough. DontMashMe tried to tumble in, like in a bad way, but because if he tumbled back, he wouldn't have been able to do any damage. Coast tank line was right in the right spot, and it just meant that if DontMashMe wanted to hit anyone, he was just risking dying.
And you saw Imaqtpie turn to focus him out, get rid of him right away in that battle. And as you mentioned, Scarra not even having an ult as part of that fight. So Dignitas, more control for them. They take up the Dragon. More gold, thankfully, for that team. 51.8 to 43.2. Yep, third Dragon, second Baron, 7-4 in turrets. A lot of this game is going Dignitas' way. Despite only a 2-kill lead, they've just done more with those kills.
They've done so much more with those kills. It's, like you say, the 7-4 turrets and a farm edge. They've had the farm edge pretty much the entire game. Most of that's on Imaqtpie. And we said before the game that he's had extreme success against Coast. It's happening yet again. Even though so much of this game has been about Scarra's Gragas, we can't undermine the 287 minion kills that Imaqtpie's been able to get.
So here we go then. They're looking for this bottom lane. Unfortunately for Zion, there's not much Bloodwell for him. But Dignitas are looking to go in. They get the jump on. And there we go. The initiation. 1 kill picked up already. And they might just keep on moving forward. DontMashMe forced to run away. The rest of Coast does live, but that's now 2 inhibitors dead. And Dignitas look for their next big objective. Just north is another turret. Nintendo does not get knocked up. He actually fears Imaqtpie, but Scarra is going to look for this one. The drain comes across, not going to matter too much. That will be Scarra picking it up with a body slam. Down goes ZionSpartan as well. And Shiphtur is on the run. MashMe as well. Only 2 members alive for Team Coast. Dignitas with all inhibitors about to go down and control of Coast base.
Really good finish here by Dignitas. They were able to push in through Coast and never gave NintendudeX a chance to ultimate. They were never surprised by Fiddlesticks, and they're pushing through the base very quickly.
And here we go, Nexus down below half HP, and no one alive to defend, and that is a win here for Dignitas, bringing them into 3rd place with only 1 week to go in the North American LCS Summer Split.
Yeah, we got a bit of a pile in 3rd place right now. The 3 of the most established teams here in North America, all tied for that 3rd place. It's going to be a very interesting Super Week.
And of course, you'll see them very quickly get to shuffle around. Potentially they can catch Vulcan. They're still only a couple of games away from the likes of Coast and Curse down below that one. There's just a lot of battles still here because you've got these 5 playoff hopefuls. You're not kind of the top 2 right there, sort of the 5 hopefuls with only 4 spots to go between them. Only a few games separating these guys, but Dignitas certainly showing that they're floating towards the top.
Yeah, and we could see Coast very disappointed with that one as well because they really need to perform here at the end of the season. It was a tough loss for them because it seemed like they picked somewhat intelligently at the start of the game, but then they were never able to get vision control in this match. And it's such an important thing about Fiddlesticks. If the other team gets the map advantage on you, because of that incredibly long channel time, you're just never able to pick your right fights, and that was something Coast couldn't do that whole game.
And meanwhile, Dignitas just dove in from 1,000 range away. The Zac, the Jarvan, getting onto whoever they wanted.
There was no hesitation there.
Very good job by them to be coordinated, jump into the fights from far away, and make that happen. So guys, we've got to take a quick break, but when you return, Dignitas' Crumbzz and Patoy will join us to talk about their perfect 2-0 day. Then we'll name our most valuable player for Week 8 and break down the playoff picture heading into the final 20 games of the summer. The North American League of